Well, tonight, audio input capture. That's really loud. What about that? Is that better? Better, that's better. Check. So tonight we were supposed to go live with a new podcast, but so I'm troubleshooting, we kind of ran out of time. So what I am going to do is a reaction video. I've uploaded some content here for us to go over, and as usual, I want you to use your eyes and your ears to be the judge and the detective for yourself, and not just believe what these elite trust fund dorks, tell you, because I promise you, your best interest is not their priority. In fact, it is the opposite. So I just want you to keep that in mind, and just have an open mind. As a detective of true spirituality, whatever you want to call it, you research things from several different perspectives, right? You don't just go with one story. People always say, what if what you're reading is bullshit? What if what you're looking at is bullshit? That could be. That's why you have to use discernment in your brain, in your eyes, and all of the things that God gave you. So let's take a look at this first video. Let's see here. How about this Zuckerberg logo, or the Zuckerberg video? Some Illuminati confirmed, maybe? Let's check it out.
She exposes Mark Zuckerberg live on television.
Okay, you want to take off the hoodie?
No, I never take off the hoodie.
I know you don't. There's a group of women in the audience that wish you would.
No.
Girls,
Whoa. Maybe I should take off the hoodie.
take off the
Go ahead.
hoodie.
What's a company hoodie? We print our mission on the inside.
Welcome to that making the world open and connected stream graph platform, and this weird symbol in the middle of it is probably for the Illuminati.
She exposes Mark Zuckerberg live on television.
Okay, you want to take off the hoodie?
No, I never take off the hoodie.
I know you don't.
Big surprise. And what's the alternative? It's a joke. He's wearing it as a joke to troll people.
Does anyone want to tell me how in 1927 Universal Studios came up with this picture of the world, when the first picture of the world wasn't available until the 1960s through NASA? Almost 40 years later? How did Universal Studios know that this is what the world looked like? Especially from space, when we hadn't been to space yet. Does anyone know? Anyone want to guess? Does anyone want to...
Sometimes these TikTok voices are so fucking annoying, and I have to. I'm probably one of them. My high-pitched Irish-sounding voice. It's annoying as hell. And obviously she makes good points. Common sense a lot of the time goes out the window with these things. We just take their word for it. If I got anybody, hold on, I'm just gonna be checking to see if I've got anybody anywhere.
Who are they?
Whoa. Alright, let's go to the next video. This one's really creepy. This pastor, I think his name's Kenneth Copeland or something, or I'm not really sure, but he's a famous pastor, bought an airplane from some actor, but you tell me what's up with this guy. Does this look and sound like a man of God to you?
Said that you won't fly commercial. You said that it's like getting into a tube with a bunch of demons. Why do you think that?
No, that's to be deceived. Not the people. The main reason is because of the need of Inside Edition. You got to get this now. Hey, you listen to me? My wife thinks Inside Edition is, oh yeah.
Said that you won't fly commercial. You said that it's like getting into a tube.
What the fuck? Yeah, that guy's not a weirdo.
He couldn't eat our food, couldn't eat all our food, but eventually over a period of time, he had food in the craft, which they later recovered for him. And they're pellets, that he would eat these pellets, and they would melt. As soon as they got into his mouth, they would melt. And that's another thing the doctors couldn't understand was we tried them. They didn't melt in our mouth. Something about the saliva or the enzymes in Eva's mouth that immediately reacted with these food pellets. But he's survived on these food pellets, but eventually they ran out. And now they had to figure out what kind of food he could eat. And they did. They found vegetables, certain types of vegetables. I don't remember the vegetables, but there were certain vegetables and fruit that he could eat and could survive on. And he could survive on our water. But eventually he succumbed to something, and I'm not sure in 1952 when he died, they figured out why. He couldn't eat our food, couldn't eat all our food, but eventually over a period of time, he had food in the craft, which they later recovered for him. And they're pellets.
What do you guys think? Whenever guys start that worked for the government that start disclosing this type of shit, Lord knows I'm the first one to be skeptical if it's coming from anyone from the establishment, the people that create the narrative, the people that start the sickness and then come up with the solution, the people that run all the propaganda. I'm skeptical of EB, whatever the dude's name is. Let's listen to some Ted Gunderson. Now, this guy was one of the lead FBI agents for the country. And after he retired, he wrote a book pretty much telling everyone, a lot of the truths that were going on. And they capped him and no cap. Yep. They capped him. No cap.
The Oklahoma City bombing case, huge cover-up. Jack Kennedy's assassination, huge cover-up. Bobby Kennedy's assassination, huge cover-up. World Trade Center, huge cover-up. Okay, terrorism. They're using it as an excuse to take away our constitutional rights and our civil liberties. The Illuminati, Bilderberg, New World Order, globalists are the element behind this. It dovetails into the satanic movement, and this movement has infiltrated into our intelligence community, the once great FBI and the CIA. The Oklahoma City bombing case.
And that's Ted Gunderson, FBI agent. One of the first people to start talking about chemtrails, who was an established guy, and also, one of the lead in The Finders, which is some child trafficking, operation, and it was called The Finders. At least that's what, the case was when they were looking into it.
I'm sorry, is there someone talking to you?
Yes, sorry.
Sorry about that. So I just was wondering how
just
everyone's
came
doing. Hello, Courtney. Have we lost you?
All right. It looks like Courtney doesn't really want to go there
I
with
think
that
she's
question.
breaking. So I just was wondering
It
how
just
everyone's
came
doing.
in.
Hello, Courtney. Have we lost? I'm sorry. Is there someone talking to you?
That's weird. You see so many of these Holly weird videos where actors and actresses are glitching out. It really makes you wonder what's going on there. Is that some clone shit? Let me know in the comments. Some MK Ultra, some dissociative brain splintering. Now, here's one that really bothered me because I really liked The Rock just not too long ago. Even though I know a lot of these celebrities are into some really bad shit, The Rock, made it seem like he lived a pretty good life. But, I'm a dad. I got 3 girls and a son. And these are not jokes that I think are funny, but I'll let you guys decide if you think this shit is funny. I mean, I've almost gotten fist fights with people over some of the stuff that's come out of their mouth when they're talking about just kids in general. I'm all about adults, consenting adults doing what they want to do behind closed doors, but man, let these kids be kids. Don't be trying to mess them up mentally, emotionally, physically. Leave them the fuck alone. And even jokes like this really bother me.
My name is Roy, and and for the most evil invention in the world contest, I invented a child molesting robot. I call it Robo Chomo.
How do you even build a child molesting robot?
Well, that's a great question. What you do is you start by building a regular robot, then you molest it and hope that it continues the cycle. I eat children. How old are you?
12.
Oh, okay. Only to 10.
Only
Okay,
to
that's
10.
good.
We're safe.
That's good.
Children and pineapple. My name is Roy, and
So what did he say? A child molesting robot. It's not funny to me. And for all the kids that have been hurt out there, or any adults that have been through anything like that, that shit is not funny to them. And to me, it's a desensitizing campaign to get people to just not care about some of the evil shit that's going on. Let's make it a joke. Let's make it a joke. And so here's the actor from The Sound of Freedom, which, I don't have any clips from that movie, but I have my opinion on it, and I believe that while it is telling you a lot of the truth, there's a reason that came out. They're going to make it seem like they held it back. Trust me, they don't let shit get out if they don't want it to. So to me, it serves as revelation of method.
I want to make sure that you said adrenochrome.
Yeah.
And a lot of people here, there's about 4,500 people here. There's about 500,000 people streaming online. We're having some cyber attacks. That feed's been going on and off. But you said that word, and by a show of hands, who's heard that word before in this building? Could you please explain, to the extent that you want to or not want to, what that is? Because some people have never heard that before, and we need to discuss that.
Essentially, you have adrenaline in your body. I'll just simplify it. And when you are scared, you produce adrenaline. If you're an athlete, you get in the fourth quarter, you have adrenaline that comes out of you. If a child knows he's going to die, his body will secrete this adrenaline, and they have a lot of terms that they use that he takes me through. But it's the worst horror I've ever seen, is screaming alone, even if I never, ever saw it. It's beyond, and these people that do it, there'll be no mercy for.
I want to make sure that you said adrenaline.
So this next one is a video I made that I saw in an actual newspaper, and they were talking about, you know, crazy conspiracy theorists, you know, spreading misinformation. But if you look on the FBI website, you'll see that these symbols are the disclosure symbols of the pedophiles. And yes, they are.
I'm just curious. What's with all the declassified pedo symbols on these diapers? Oh, I forgot. Revelation of nothing. I'm just curious.
So that video had like 1 million views. Clearly pissed somebody off. Let's see here. What else we got here? We went over The Rock, Adrenochrome, the diaper, Courtney glitching out. Excuse me. EB, the fake alien. Let's see. Lucifer disguised as Kenneth Copeland. Zuckerfuck, the Universal logo. How about Klaus Schwab?
They call it the Great Reset. And folks, it's not a conspiracy or a theory when the people behind it are telling you out loud what they intend to do. He heads up this World Economic Forum. They meet yearly in Davos, Switzerland, as you mentioned. But 2030 has been laid out by these great resetters like Klaus Schwab as a pivotal year for their agenda. Why is 2030 such a big deal for them?
Yeah, well, I think Sam could speak a little bit more to this, but my initial thoughts for me is, you know, they've got a plan. But, you know, if you look at everything that's going to happen, the writing on the wall, so to speak, it really points towards that being more so a 10-year plan as opposed to something they could just do right away. You know, I mean, one of the things that we've discovered as we've been covering this topic the last 4 or 5 years is these guys are master psyops individuals. I mean, mass psychology, they're masters at figuring out what they have to say, what narrative they have to push, what lever they have to pull to get everybody on board with their ideas. Right. And they understand that it's going to be a long process, and it's going to probably resonate with the younger generation, which is why, you know, him being 30, me being 28, we're so passionate about this because, you know, we got to stand up. You know, we can't just allow our generation to be taken hostage by ideologies that not only hurt Scripture, not only hurt the teachings of Jesus, but also hurts our personal freedom. You know, so you know, I do believe that's kind of the famous saying is by 2030 you will own nothing and you will be happy.
You will own nothing and you will be happy. That's straight from the horse's mouth, from the World Economic Forum.
That's the motto. That's the theme of the Great Reset. So the World Economic Forum released, I believe it's a 2-3 minute video where it made some predictions, critical predictions by 2030. One of the main key thing is you will own nothing and you will be happy. It's interesting. There's a man who's smiling. You know, he's very peaceful. he's calm. He's got this really bright grin, and with a caption of
What a joke.
Well, how does that work in their view? You own nothing, yet you'll be happy. What does that exactly mean?
Yeah. So they believe in a shared economy, meaning that, hey, everyone's going to rent out things, right? So, a lot of individuals who, I guess, criticize people like us who say that's not a good thing, they're saying, well, what if it's a world where it's a lot like Uber, where, people don't own their cars, they take an Uber. But, my counter argument to that is, well, the Uber driver owns the car. So, there's got to be some people who own something. And so, if we don't own anything, then, well, who will?
Digital ID, which you mentioned, Daniel.
The elite trust fund dorks, as usual.
Two concepts that are also very central to the Great Reset agenda. The digital currency, you can see the seeds for that being laid right now. And digital ID as well. Vaccine mandates, I think we're a step in that direction during COVID.
Right.
How far down the line are we towards a digital currency, number one, and perhaps even digital ID?
I bet no billionaires
in regards to
can fight.
CBDC, which stands for Central Bank Digital Currency. So what that is, you may have heard of Bitcoin, DeFi, right?
They're trying to make it seem like Mark
Bitcoin,
Zuckerberg.
Ethereum, so these are blockchain technology-backed currency, which in essence could be a good thing. What the government and the central banks are trying to do around the world is harness that technology to then be able to create a centralized form where all transactions, whether it's made online when you go to the store or you go shop on Amazon, could be thoroughly monitored, it could be recorded. So the central banks want to design this, and typically they always seem to have a good reasons as to why. They have a list of good reasons. Hey, here's why this is going to be amazing. It's going to make transactions efficient, it's going to be less costly. We can do cross-border transaction, which actually feeds right into the narrative of eliminating sovereignty, borders, and making really the world one government. But the central bank digital currency, CBDC, the threat of that, it has actually really good ties to the digital IDs, because they want to give you money, or they want people who deserve, based on their standards, to have control over their money. So if they don't like what you did or didn't like what you said about them, they can shut your money down or put an expiration date on it and say, hey, your money's only good for the next 30 days, spend it wisely, and just completely shut your account down. And we've seen what happened in Canada with the trucker protest, donations, closing like that.
Oh, the Great Reset. Klaus Schwab. He's like a James Bond villain. You ever seen a picture of this guy?
Agent Smith effect. If you're talking to somebody like a friend or a family member about what you saw on TV, everybody's having a great conversation about it. But as soon as you stop and talk about is 9/11 a conspiracy, or what they're putting in our food is poison, all of a sudden that person will then change, and they'll almost become like a prison guard to stop you from talking about those topics. It's like this matrix programming takes over their body. Agent Smith effect. If you're talking to somebody like a friend or a family member about...
Man, that is so true. I can attest to just trying to have simple conversation with people that is more than, just civil conversation. And people are so triggered at the thought that that they're being lied to and that they believed it. And man, I'm one of the first people to admit that when I'm wrong, right? But one thing is I usually only speak about what I know and what I put a lot of time into. So keep that in mind.
She said she was blackballed, and she said that I said, were there situations where Hollywood execs were like, well, unless you have sex with me, you're not going to get this role? And she said yes.
Wow. And what'd she do? Did she refuse everything?
It seems like it, yeah.
Yeah, well, you're like, yeah, well, yeah.
And she wouldn't name any names.
Right. But it happens. Because when you look at Hollywood, and it's Hollyweird, there's a reason for it, and I hear all these stories, and you look at some people that make it and you go, how the fuck are they getting all this shit? Like, literally. And a lot of them are not that great. You're like, how are they getting everything? Sometimes, And you see a lot of talented people, and they're not really, you know, you have that ceiling. You're almost there, but you can't seem to get over that hump. And then if you keep your integrity, it just takes a little longer. Fine. I'm that dude. I don't have it in my makeup, in my DNA, to have somebody put their finger in my ass. That's just not. They go, dude, listen. All I have to do, let me put my finger in your ass. Just let me go like that. Just like that. I'm gonna go just like that. And guess what? You're gonna be the new Iron Man. Come on. Just let me, and maybe 3 fingers. Just let me go like that for about 5 minutes. Let me do this.
Dave Chappelle made a joke about that on his Netflix special. And remember, like he was like the Harvey Weinstein thing. He's like, "Come on over, I'll put you in all the Lord of the Rings." Like, all right, fine.
He's like this. Guess what? You will be fighting Darth Vader if you let just put your dick in my eyeball. That's all. Just boink boink, poke it a couple times, and you're gonna be fighting Darth Vader. I swear to God. Just boink boink. Just put your balls just on my chick. Come on, teabag me just 3 dips. 3 dips. I swear to God. And
maybe 4.
But I swear to God, and it'll be you.
It keeps going up and up.
It'll be you and Nicole. Okay, wait. Okay, smack my ass. I lick your balls 3 times, and it's you and Nicole.
Does anyone know who this guy is?
I swear. You see, I don't have it in me to, and I think people get a certain energy when they know they can't fuck with certain people. They get a certain energy. They go, nah, we can't even. That ain't even happening. You know what I mean? It's
yeah. I mean, when she said she was blackballed.
Well, clearly we know why he's not famous, because he doesn't play the game. Very descriptive, though.
This is the Freemasons. This is Hindu. This is your spine, and that's Egyptian. That's right. Because guess what? It's called Santa Claus when he comes down the chimney and gives a gift to us. This is the Santa Claustrum. It's in your brain, and it comes down and it gives a gift to us, and it goes back up. So this is why Jesus dies at 33 years old, because it goes down your spine and back up. The Christos, or the golden oil.
The
In Greek,
Christos.
Christos means gold. So the claustrum is up here. Santa goes down the chimney. That's because Jesus was in Nazareth with his mama, and then King Herod wants to kill Jesus, so Jesus must go all the way down to be born in Bethlehem. Then he goes back up. See, he's going down this river and back up, down the spine and back up. So this is Kemet in Egypt. This is the Jordan River. So the Jordan River is a little tiny replica of this, because this was the lotus flower, or your spine. So this represents your spine. If we know that this did represent your spine, which it did, then undoubtedly the Jordan River represented the spine, just like the Nile River. This is for you ignorant churchgoers, I swear. Candy cane is red for feminine, white for masculine. It's the 2 nerves, the Ida and the Pingala, the sun and the moon. So the Pingala is the pineal gland, that's the Ida. That's the pituitary, the negative component, and the pineal gland, the positive component. So you have the milk and honey, the gold and silver. This is the promised land. So when what's his name? Jack climbs the beanstalk. He goes up his spine and finds the golden egg in the gray clouds, which is the gray matter in your brain. Well, look, Saint Nicholas is Saint Naga-less. Naga means serpent. That's why when Thor takes the Bifrost Bridge, this is your thorax, which is 12 vertebrae. There's 12 vertebrae of your thorax, thoracic vertebrae, and there's 12 ribs on each side, 24 ribs. So there's Arthur and the 12 knights at the round table, your 12 vertebrae. Jesus and his 12 disciples. Thor takes the rainbow bridge, which is your chakras, your spine. Arthur.
Man. That guy's trying to tie in everything to everything, but I will say one thing. Once you start studying the English language and where the etymology of these words and their origins, and you look in the Latin and the Greek and the Hebrew origins, you start realizing that we are being fucked with. English, especially, is used against us. That's all I'm going to say, like, for tonight. Like, I'm not really going to go too deep into it. I'm just going over the videos I've uploaded as a little reaction video and kind of testing this new software and seeing how it all is going to work out with Jay tomorrow, because we were supposed to go tonight, but the troubleshooting was a nightmare and there was no way we were going to get the episode that we desired to be our first episode. We're not going to rush it, so we're going to do it tomorrow.
Y'all, I am freaking out.
Well, I guess
Y'all, I am freaking out right now. There's a lot of unexplained things going on in the ocean right now. Hold on real quick. I do not trust them. Just watch this real quick for me.
You get to Mars by going through the ocean. You can't get to the bottom of the ocean because outer space is the ocean.
Now, what she just said just blew my mind. Now, there is a situation called the firmament. So we know that water is all around us. And it is said that this dome divided the sea into upper and lower sections. You can't cancel this out because they still haven't discovered 80% of the sea. Early civilizations believed that the ocean and the stars above were linked. I mean, just look. Mayan, Norse, Hindu, Hebrew, all of them. Now, we already know what spacesuits look like, but they look exactly like sea suits. I know once in your life you've heard of the Bermuda Triangle. Planes and people going missing in the ocean. There are black holes in the ocean. And I just know once in your life you've heard about sea monsters. When you see a comet, it looks like a boat soaring through water. What if these unexplained species in the ocean are actually aliens? If y'all have ever watched this movie Underwater, they went too deep and found the creature that don't even look like it's supposed to be from this earth. Or could it have just been a creature from space? Now, you can say what you want, but I bet you we are not the only beings, only species, only creatures that are in this universe. It's just ironic that when they return to Earth, they're on water. I mean, I know I'm not tripping. And I know y'all heard of mermaids. So many unexplained things in the ocean. They're making more discoveries in space. Not really putting too much money or caring about what's going on the planet. Why? Because this sea stuff might have a lot of connections to space. And they not telling us. Y'all be safe, and I know I'm not the only person who feel this way.
See, this is the problem with number one, in the movie Underwater, they say right in the summary that it's Cthulhu, which is a H.P. Lovecraft creation. So, it's really interesting when people try to make videos and they don't even do any research at all. And while she has many good points about the Bermuda Triangle and other things that she spoke on, she just, I don't know, her energy just is gonna not get people to look into stuff on her behalf. I just feel that way. But that's because, I listen to a lot of serious doctors and researchers and read a lot of books and, try not to get any information off TikTok unless it correlates with something that I've already put a lot of research into on my own, through books, through searching deep online forums and evidence, pictures, video. You have to be a detective. You can't just believe anything, and that goes for the establishment, and it goes for truthers, it goes for pretty much anything.
One of the things that I learned from whistleblowers from the cabal itself is that they have to work within something they call the rules.
Me so
this
bad,
is very, very
telling
important.
the truth.
So I really want to make sure that this gets into the film.
God, he annoys me.
The rules are a body of spiritual principles that they must follow in order to be allowed to exist. Now, what do I mean by allowed to exist? I mean that they are aware that there are benevolent forces that will prevent them from achieving their goals unless we give them permission to enslave us. Now think about that. Well, I didn't give them permission. So why did they put this plan for 3 world wars on display in a book that's hanging there open behind glass in the British Museum Library of London? And those 3 world wars that they're outlining are exactly World War I, World War II, and the war on terrorism. Because the rules state that they have to tell us what they're doing.
Revelation of method.
Therefore, If we allow it to
Revelation
happen,
of method.
we have
That's what that's
consented
called.
to tyranny, we have consented to enslavement. Now, if you get into the secret history of the cabal, this was rediscovered by Queen Elizabeth, the original Elizabeth that we've heard about from the 1500s. Queen Elizabeth's royal astrologer, a man
1588,
named
the
John
Magna
Dee,
was at,
who is the prototype of the wizard with the long beard, the
Spanish
hat,
Armada.
and what he did
Queen
was
Elizabeth.
to rediscover, through these ancient documents that were in the Vatican, the technology of how to access what they considered to be spiritual beings that were useful to them, but what we would consider to be demonic or evil beings. These beings need to be accessed through a very complex set of rituals and ceremonies. You cannot just ask for them to show up. You have to follow very elaborate and specific protocols. If you follow those protocols, it's like having an IP address, which is what we use to go online in order to notate a website. Every website has its own IP address. These spiritual beings, such as Baal and Moloch, which they still do ceremonies for today, such as in Bohemian Grove, there is a giant effigy, stone effigy of an owl. That's the god Moloch. The god Moloch goes all the way back to Rome and Carthage, in which they were offering child sacrifices to this god in exchange for power. So John Dee rediscovered the technology of how to draw the magic circles, how to say the right incantations, how to actually do black magic on a governmental level. This is what people are going to have so much trouble with once disclosure happens, is that these people actually practice. One of the things that I learned from whistleblowers from...
Now, I think that was everything except one final video that we're going to do, but I just want to say that while David Wilcox is so annoying, like I find the man super annoying, the way he comes across, and you know, but he's telling the truth. He's telling the absolute truth. And the more you study this and research this, the evidence is overwhelming, right? So, and don't take my word for it. You know, just, you know, you want to be pointed in the right direction, you know, I'm here to help. But if you have any questions, I'm here to help. But, you know, I always say, look into everything for yourself. Be a detective. Don't take my word for it. Don't take Anthony Fauci's word for it. Use your brain. Talk to God. Talk to your wife. Make sure you're allowed, and you know, go take care of business. But you know, be a detective. That's all I gotta say. And here's the last thing: is a video that I made. I read this book called 9/11 is Mass Ritual by S.K. Bain, and it is mind-blowing. It is mind-blowing. And once you read the book, you'll research all of his claims, and you'll realize that the numbers match up. What he says pretty much matches up with everything, with all the evidence, with all the details. So yeah, last but not least, here is a video I made on all of the 77s at 9/11 at the Pentagon.
Okay, real quick, obviously for entertainment purposes only, but let's go through this real fast. So I got a lot of comments saying that the Pentagon was hit by a missile, not Flight 77. I agree with you. It was probably not a plane. No plane parts were found, no plane debris. It was all bullshit. But remember, the narrative is the method of revelation. It's all about what they tell you. If they tell you it's Flight 77, in their mind, in their stupid Malachian trust fund dork mind, it still works. So remember, that's the whole point of this, It's all the 77s converging in one spot. That's the power-up in their thelemic bullshit. Okay, real quick, obviously.
Okay, so let's go over this real quick. I muted myself, but the Pentagon is pretty much a pentagram, and it started being built on, guess what date? That's right, September 11th, 1941 or 1942, but definitely September 11th. It's right there in Wikipedia. And look right here from Google Maps. It was built on the 77th parallel, longitude, whatever you want to call it. And one of the claims is their thelemic religion, they are obsessed with this number. This number, 77. They're all obsessed with these symbols and numbers. So, it is built 77 feet high. Now, I want you to go and Google this information to make sure. There's also, it doesn't say it on here, but there's 7,700 windows. And exactly, it's 7,755. So, 7,700 windows, 77 feet tall, built on the 77th parallel. Now, I want you to just take notice of George Bush's little sun hat with his 77 right there. Now, here is Aleister Crowley's book, Liber 77. And if you know who Aleister Crowley is, he's pretty much the Malachian dork that all of these elite dorks really worship. So now it starts getting really weird. So we've got this 77, this 77, this 77, 7,700 windows. It's 7 stories high. So that could all be done purposely, right? All planned. Yep. Planned to be built on this parallel. Planned to be built this high. Planned to wear that stupid ass hat. Planned to write this stupid ass book. Right? Now, what flight do they tell us hit the Pentagon? Flight 77. What is the Doomsday Mobile Command Center call sign on that day? And just if you study protocol, when there's a terrorist attack, the Doomsday plane is supposed to be on the other side of the country during the attack, or when the attack commences. And since the buildings had already been hit, there is no reason for the Mobile Command Center, which should be anywhere near the Pentagon. But when the supposed Flight 77 hit, where was this 77? Right? It was right over the Pentagon. And what was the call sign of this Mobile Command Center on the 9/11/2001 on that day? That's right. Go ahead, look it up. Venus 77. So sure, these are all planned. These are all planned. And you're telling me on the day of the attack, and we could go into all the other numbers because every plane has symbolic numerology. But we're just looking at one plane and the Pentagon right here. And this is the ritual of 77 on 9/11 that involved the Pentagon. And if any of you can come up with a good reason why, by the grace of the universe and God, that all the other numbers that were purposely built into the Pentagon were somehow correlate to the two planes, the one that they tell you hit the Pentagon and the one that was in charge of the country during the attack. And just a side note, Venus is aka Ishtar, who is Moloch's wife. So, just keep that in mind, that whenever they put these Roman gods or Greek gods, they're really talking about, they believe, fallen angels, that are these demonic beings that Wilcox was just talking about. So, there you go. Someone try to figure out how many more 77s and weird numbers you can find in the Pentagon. I can just tell you that reality isn't what you've been taught. You're a lot more special than the elite want you to know. And I suggest you go train martial arts and do some meditation and walk around and barefoot outside and ground yourself and put that energy back into the earth that builds up inside you, and start pulling yourself out of their system of attention. Find ways to occupy yourself that only benefit you. Stop watching TV, stop drinking, stop scrolling. Pick up a book, read something interesting, have an interesting conversation, pick up a jump rope, go for a run, listen to an audio book. There's lots of things you could do that are also entertaining, and they make you better. So thank you for tuning in. Good night, everyone, and please tune in tomorrow. We're going to be recording. We're going to be going live. Me and Jason Muggs, Muggsy.com. And, so, we're moving forward. We're building momentum. And stay the course, everyone. Stay positive.